Perfect. Yay. How are you today?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm doing good as well. How's your day going?
Good. I got no complaints. It's Friday.
Right?
Great weather.
Oh yeah, you guys have sunny day right now, isn't it?
Yeah, it's been real nice.
That's so cool. That's so cool. For us, it's been raining like the whole weekend. I mean, the whole week has been raining like a lot.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah. I mean, it's nice because here it's like normally crazy warm. So
Yeah.
having those refreshing cold days with the rain and everything is like, yeah, perfect.
I mean, yeah, I always do enjoy it a little bit when we get spring weather because it's pretty rare here. But
Yeah, of course, I bet. So today we got Andi Norris here. Let's give it up. Let's give it an epic welcome here. There you go.
Hi, everyone. I'm so happy to be here. Thank you.
I'm still working on my intros, but that's part of it.
Your intro was perfect. It was
Perfect.
Great.
Awesome. Thank you. All right. So starting the interview, tell me how your career started. Did you always wanted to become an actor? Was it something you discovered while you were at school? I mean, where does this passion comes from?
Yeah, I pretty much always wanted to be an actor. I started doing children's theater. My mom put us in children's theater when I was probably 5, I think.
Mm-hmm.
Me and my siblings. And we were only doing it for a few years because then it got crazy expensive because that's how children's theater works.
Of course.
She pulled us out, but at that point I was like, this is what I want to do. Be an actor. And so I started writing.
Awesome.
I'm not writing, but I started making up these little plays during recess in elementary school. And then I would pull my friends in, and then I would convince my teacher to let us perform it for the class.
Wow.
Yeah, I mean, I only did it like a few times, but it was enough. I was like, I just need something. And I would, my siblings and we would put together, shows at our house,
Mm-hmm.
My parents, or just for us. And then as I got older, I started auditioning for shows at the local community college, and then I did all the shows in high school, and then I went and majored in acting in college, and then I moved to LA, and yeah, I pretty much always wanted to be an actor.
That's so cool. So during like those family times, you will get like the chance to perform and do your plays, let's say.
Yeah.
Wow, that's so cool. And moving on with your career. So in 2005, you got your first role in a short movie called Charming. Can you tell me about that experience and how different was it from doing plays?
Well, this is a funny story. So yeah.
Okay.
This was a short film, Charming. It was the first film I ever did. I was in college. My college had a really good theater program, but they're really renowned for the film program. And I happened to be walking around the film campus, just kind of checking it out. And I walked into this room, and they were holding auditions, and I was like, cool, can I audition? Like, I literally just walked in accidentally.
What? Okay.
What are you guys doing? Let's audition. Sure, why not? And so I did, and then I booked the role, and it was a real small role in this super quirky short film. It used like all this heightened Shakespearean language, but it was super modern. It was just a really cute little film. So that was very different. That one was different than doing theater, but because of the style of it, it wasn't that different. It was super heightened. It wasn't until I started doing more realistic films that I was like, oh, this is actually very different.
Oh, wow. And talking about plays, so you were in the Diary of Anne Frank, With Their Eyes, the Corn Play, and many more. Tell me, what do you like the most about acting in plays, and how do you usually prepare?
Oh, goodness. I like the feedback from the audience.
Okay.
You get a really good sense when you're in a play of community with the audience. It's kind of give and take. It isn't I'm telling this story here. It's I'm telling the story with you. And I really enjoy doing that. I think that's a really great way to reach people.
Yeah.
In terms of how I prepare, that it really depends on the role and the
okay.
that it is.
Mm-hmm.
With Their Eyes was a devised piece, which means we sort of workshopped it a lot. It wasn't. It was a devised piece from some high school students in New York about September 11th. They were high school at Ground Zero, and so they'd all written these little vignettes about their experience. And so we took those vignettes and kind of workshopped them a little bit into a production that ended up being absolutely incredible. So that's a very different experience than if you were to prepare a Shakespeare play.
Yeah, of course. Absolutely. Wow. And is there like a go-to meal or a song you usually listen before a play? Like, for example, I don't know. I mean, that maybe you will listen like "Lose Yourself" by Eminem and get the feeling, or like something like that.
This also really depends on the character.
Okay.
Music. Sometimes I have. When I did the Diary of Anne Frank, I ate a lot of jelly beans. I don't know why jelly beans.
Okay.
But I would eat like half a pack of jelly beans before I would go on stage, which is such a weird choice to me.
Yeah.
But you're playing. I was embodying this young woman who was so vibrant and is so vibrant through the whole show that it made me feel part of that world, even though I didn't have jelly beans. But
yeah, of course.
for me, that it brought up that part of my life. It was a weird choice.
Yeah, I mean it's interesting because like everyone would have like their own kind of rituals, I mean not rituals, but like a go-to to prepare and everything. So the fact that you ate jelly beans, that is actually pretty funny.
Yeah, I wouldn't say it was the most serious of preps that I've ever done.
Yeah. And yeah, so moving on with your career, you were in several short movies, but then in 2012 you did stunts for Job Hunters, and in 2014 for American Horror Story. So can you tell me about that experience? I mean, how did you got to do the stunts? And in 2012, was that your first stunt job?
I think it was. It's been a while.
Yeah,
I was up in Seattle, and a group of people I know were putting together this web series called Job Hunters, which is very Battle Royale-esque, very cute. I think it's still on YouTube. Everyone should go check it out. It's really fun. And I got brought in just to do. I was pretty active. It wasn't formally like there wasn't a stunt coordinator. It was just, hey, come. You're pretty active. Can you come be part of this fight?
Yeah. That
was really how it started. And then I would say American Horror Story was my first formal stunt role. And that's a fun one. I was living in Louisiana. I was in New Orleans when they were shooting Coven. And I knew someone who was working on Coven, who was like the production coordinator, and I was visiting her. She brought me to set. They were sitting outside and she was working, and I just was standing there, and so I started talking to the guy next to me. Turned out he was the stunt coordinator, and we started talking about my athletic background and my interest, and he was fantastic. He was such a lovely human. He was like, "You're the right size to double Emma Roberts. Are you interested? Like, do you want? Are you interested in this at all? Like, maybe I can bring you on for a really easy day." And he did. He ended up calling me, and then I was in the second to last episode of Coven. There's a big fight between Emma Roberts' character and Lily Rabe, I think is her name, where Emma's character gets thrown into a pillar, and that's me.
That was you.
Yeah, that was like
wow. So basically, you got that role like out of nowhere, just to being on the right place at the right time.
Not common. I was super lucky, super right place, right time, right skill set.
That's so cool. Wow.
I was like, yeah, I'll take a chance on you.
Yeah, why not? Absolutely.
You get those.
Yeah. I mean,
you go, yes, I will do it.
Yeah, of course. I mean, like being on the right time at the right place. It's so awesome when that happens.
Having the right skill set's really important. If I had just didn't have any experience,
yeah,
he wouldn't have brought me on.
Yeah, of course.
It's crazy for him, but when you're prepared for the job, and
you got it.
You take it.
Absolutely. And you did several stunts after those. For example, you did stunts for Resurgence, The Kids Are All Right, and then in 2019 you got to be the stunt performer and mocap for Vader Immortal, a Star Wars VR series, episodes 2 and 3.
Yeah.
Can you tell me about that experience and how it wasn't from being like the stunt performer? The stunt performer for a video game, and was that your first video game performance?
No, it wasn't my first video game performance. Although
Okay.
the first game that I did that came out. Like I think it was released first, which is why I think it's on IMDb as my first one.
Yeah, yeah.
And I did do stunts on on Vader Immortal, but that wasn't. I was hired to do the race. So
Okay.
in episode 2, you fight. Sorry, spoilers if nobody's. But it's been out for a while, so
yeah. It's like I mean, it's okay.
there's a giant, 40-foot rancor creature that climbs around inside this volcanic cavern on Mustafar, and they brought me in to play that because I primarily do. Well, I kind of do half and half now, but I do a lot of creature work. So that's what I was hired for, and then I was there and I had the stunt background and, I had the fighting background. So I got to do some of the droids. I got to do some of the fighting, some other stunts.
That's
pretty
so
cool. It was really cool. The first big game that I did stunts for was Predator Hunting Ground, though.
Oh, okay. Which is the one that I'm going to ask right away.
Oh, yeah. Well, I'll segue for you.
Yeah.
That was really cool. That was a full 8 hours of wire work.
For Predator.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Okay.
So all of the, every time you kill a soldier.
That was you?
That's me.
That's so awesome.
All you left and right. Yeah.
And and how you prepare to do those? It must be exhausting, right? To making those growls and then to die one and over in different ways and stuff like that. At some point you will have to be not requesting timeout, would be okay,
you get breaks sometimes. No, they definitely take care of you. You get breaks.
Yeah, of course.
And all of that. Sometimes you're the only person on set, and those days can be a lot physically. But that's what you train for, and I love doing it. It can be very exhausting, especially during,
of course.
Long days of creature work. Lots of crawling around.
Yeah.
But again, that's what you train for. That's why I do it.
And you also did the mocap for the female Predator.
Yeah, I did some of it. So what a lot of people don't realize is that most video game characters take several people to do. Yeah. So I know TJ Storm and I both worked on the female Predator in creating a character, and I don't know if anybody else did, but yeah, no, I certainly helped create that.
That's so cool. And how is that experience when you see your your creation pretty much, see that monster and everything? How does that feel that you be that's me?
Oh, I can't even tell you. When I started seeing, I don't have a VR system, so when I started seeing gameplay of Vader Immortal and watching the Rancor who's gobbling through all
right, yeah,
and I was like, that's me! Oh, I'm terrifying! Oh, that's so cool!
Yeah.
I'm kind of glad I'm not playing the game because I'll be so scared.
Yeah, but still, it looks really cool.
I want to play it.
And with Predator Hunting Grounds, was that your first creature work?
No, I did a lot of creature work in theater. So that was kind of, I started out in theater doing primarily humans, but as I got more into experimental theater, I found myself a lot of supernatural creatures or demonic creatures.
So cool.
Of different styles, and I never really thought about it until in LA, and I took a class on creature movement, and I was like, oh, I have all the training for this. I didn't know that I could use it in games, or I didn't know that I could use it in movies, and so I've done a fair amount of prosthetic creature work as well. So
that's so awesome. Wow. And how do you prepare for a creature? I mean, you definitely need to be like on the hype, right? To make all those, to move like that and all of that. No
Uh,
jelly beans for that one, isn't it?
what'd you say?
No jelly beans for that, for
No.
preparing for.
No, you gotta eat pretty well if you're gonna
Yeah,
be,
of course.
for sustained energy. Oh man, I'd have such a stomach ache if I tried to do that.
Yeah, yeah, of course.
Yeah, there's, like I said, a lot of it's training, and it also depends on the creature, and it depends on the game, because Vader Immortal working in a Star Wars game is very different than, say, working on Resident Evil. The tone of the game is different. So in terms of prep, I'm going to pick out sources that put me in the tone of that game. Star Wars, you listen to anything Star Wars and you're immediately,
yeah, yeah, of course.
I understand this adventure. I understand the magic of it. Whereas you do Resident Evil and you kind of go into this lower horror realm, and it gives you that slower, well, not always slower, but like it's not slow. But you get that creepier feel. Yeah,
like a lower pace, like a more pace, creepy time, right?
Yeah, or when it's energetic, it's like a really harsh energetic as opposed to a magical energetic that's Star Wars.
Yeah, of course. Wow, and how does it feel that you are pretty much in the Star Wars universe?
Exciting.
Yeah, right?
What?
Yeah, of course.
Lightsabers on the wall, and you don't even know.
Yeah, that's so cool. And yeah, so you also, so you specialize in creature work. And in one of your interviews, you mentioned that you build strength through mobility, and that you created a program called Creature Fit. Yep. Can you tell me about that program? I mean, where the idea came from?
The Rancor.
Yeah, okay.
One of the biggest days I worked on Vader Immortal, I was as the Rancor, and I was the only person working on set that day. So it was a good, 6 to 8 hours where I was crawling around on the stage. And I tell you, a day like that will teach you where you're not strong.
Yeah, of course.
And I've always been, like I said, I've been really athletic. I've done a lot of strength training. Mm-hmm. But when there's a difference between just strength training and training through mobility, and when you're crawling and creating all of these unnatural movements in your body, you realize, this muscle behind my shoulder, I'm using a lot compared to it.
Oh, okay.
Now, this is getting worn out because it's holding my shoulder in place.
Yeah, of course.
And it's holding my shoulder in place when I'm putting weight on it like this. So
awesome.
That, I thought, there's a lot of people who want to really training how to do that.
Yeah.
No one's conditioning people for that.
True.
So as I was working with TJ Storm again, we were building a school called Mindset.
Yeah.
Where we teach a lot of the performance aspects. And I said, we need to we really need to teach the conditioning as well, so that our students aren't going into the volume unprepared for a long day.
Oh, wow.
So I developed a program. I started taking a bunch of classes on mobility, on bodyweight training, on flexibility, all of that, and I created Creature Fit, which basically incorporates all of that.
Wow. And has it happened to you that at some point doing the whole creature work, you get a moment and be like, tonight is gonna be a tough night?
Yeah, I mean, some days, when you're on set and mostly it's when I'm on set and I go, I want to sleep really well tonight.
Yeah, of course.
This is definitely wearing me out, but like I said, it's exactly what you train for.
That's so cool. And how many creatures can you make?
Oh, wow. I mean, I've never counted, but an infinite number. There's so many different types of creatures. There's, creatures that are almost fully feral and animalistic. You've got creatures that are more human, but just a little off. And then you've got everything in between,
Wow.
You've got your, you watch a lot of fantasy. There's creatures that are kind of half human, half animal.
Yeah.
There's an infinite number because you can always move those sliders.
So in Creature Fit, they will pretty much teach you all of those possibilities for you. They will like
Creature Fit teaches you how to, like, I help students train for
okay.
the physicality of it. We have another class called at the school called
Mm.
where we sort of break down how to build up a creature, how to
Okay.
that is authentic and serves the story.
Oh wow! And do you have any favorite creature you enjoyed the most to perform?
I mean, the Rancor. I can't even like. I have all these. I've enjoyed every creature that I've done, but the Rancor was really special, largely because it was a unique experience for someone my size to get to play
Okay.
so big and so heavy
Mm.
that it was a good challenge. It's pretty easy to see me as a smaller, either super hyper really light character or a waif or a ghoul or something like that. But to be able to say, you're going to be a 40-foot Rancor today.
So cool.
Like, that's just fantastic. That's just juicy for me. So that was
Wow.
a highlight experience.
And if you could do the creature mocap for any video game or movie, which one you would choose?
Goodness. One of my favorite stories growing up was The Golden Compass,
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
the His Dark Materials trilogy, and watching, not the movie, but
Yeah.
the
Okay.
TV show. I actually liked the TV show, and that would have been a really fun experience
Yeah.
to mocap some of those creatures, like the polar bears. Would have been really fun. I mean, I hear they did make a game of it. I haven't looked into it. I don't think it did well, but I've always wanted to play Lyra
Yeah.
game too. So someday, let me just put it out there in the universe.
Yeah. Of course. I mean, if a producer is watching, just give it.
Yeah.
Exactly. All right. Now, moving on to Resident Evil 8. I mean, how did Resident Evil Village happen? I mean, how did you got the role, and how was working with the rest of the cast on that scene that is available on the behind the scenes once you complete the game?
Man, the working cast is awesome. There's so many talented people in
Yeah.
that was such a delight. It was, and that scene that you see with all the lords when they're that first big scene.
Yeah.
That was one of the first things we shot, and so a lot of them I hadn't even met yet. And jumping into the room and just watching them play and being a part of like the creation of this, it's
So cool.
very cool. And it was a lot more like theater. Sometimes
Yeah.
on games and it runs a lot more like film, where things are just you don't get a lot of rehearsal time. But this particular game, we did get some rehearsal time, which was great. In terms of how I got the role, Sarah Coates, who's in the game and has done previous Resident Evil games,
Mm-hmm.
I knew her when I lived in Seattle, and just kind of like stayed in touch on social media, and she saw that I was doing a bunch of mocap, and she was helping with Resident Evil because she'd worked on it before, and she said, hey, there's an audition, you should come in for this. And I didn't know what it was.
Wow. Okay.
After the table read, so I didn't know what I was auditioning for. I knew that it was a character that didn't really speak,
Okay.
that it was very subtle movement, which, if you've seen me, was not an easy thing for me to do off the bat.
Yeah. I mean, yeah. Of course.
But so that was fun, and I when I did the audition, they were like, you're just auditioning for Donna, and I was like, I'm gonna audition for Donna and Angie. So I went in as a split personality audition, and it's one of the best auditions I've ever done.
What? So you were like jumping back and forth.
I set up 2 chairs, and I literally jumped from chair to chair. Because
What? Okay.
there was a whole scene between Donna and Angie, so there was a lot of room to play. And then when we actually got to shooting the game, they were like, "Hey, Donna's going to be a much more silent character." So.
Wow. I mean, it's silent, but
Powerful.
Yeah, right. I mean, I'm still saying, like, with some friends that we have played the game, that scene in particular is like the most like heavy and kind of a scary scene of the whole game.
You know, a lot of my game, I'm playing through it right now, so no spoilers after
Okay.
Moreau. No, after, yeah. Don't give me any spoilers after Moreau.
Okay. Got it. Got it.
I'm about to enter Heisenberg's factory.
Mm-hmm.
So that, as I've been playing through the game, the Beneviento house, I feel like the whole game's got its dark elements.
Yeah.
But that feels to me, just the tone of that house is so sad and dark.
True. Yeah.
Like it's heartbreakingly dark.
Yeah.
What happened?
Yeah, and you can feel it. I mean, as the way that you're going through the house and you're passing through the graveyard, and then you start like moving a little bit. And even though I was researching, I came across that at first they were planning to do like this family, that there were a bunch of kids who were ghosts and all of that. But still, I mean, what we got this scene with, the baby scene it was the worst.
Yep.
I hated that scene so much.
and I got one of the interviews or one of the signings. I think it was one of the autograph signings that Paul and I did together. We decided that this is not canon. I'm going to preface this. This is not canon. This is something that Paul and I made up. But we decided to call the baby Little Jimmy.
Okay.
So,
Okay.
Yes, I think that Little Jimmy is terrifying.
Yeah, super terrifying. Super terrifying.
I was playing, you know, and I'm running and I'm hiding and all the things, and I'm just shouting, "Little Jimmy, calm down! Calm down!" Okay.
And then the whole scene with Donna, and I mean with Angie, which the previous interview I had with Paula, and we talk about that. She was like, "Yeah, but I mean, we agree that at some point it would have been better if Angie would have been like a little more difficult to find, you know."
Yeah.
But either way, it was a really cool character. But then when you apparently stab Angie and then you realize it's Donna, you're like, oh crap.
That's what I mean. It's so
I mean,
and that Donna's
yeah.
really, you know, and you see the photo with her writing on the back that Donna wasn't out to get Ethan.
Yeah.
Not, you know, not like Lady D. Lady D's got this huge personality, huge fierceness to her, and Donna's just like, I'm just doing what I have to.
Yeah. Yeah, of course. I mean, yeah, it was different, totally. Yeah, true. Yeah, with Lady D, at some point, it was like she was pushing you, like, what you got, you know?
Yeah.
But with Donna, yeah, I mean, and even though
that I didn't notice this in the game, but somebody brought up that when you're hunting for Angie, I guess there's blood marks.
Yeah, that was what I was gonna tell you. Yeah.
Donna's running.
Yeah, I didn't.
And I was like, oh, that's so heartbreaking. But the only way she can fight is through Angie, and in a way, Ethan's the one harming her.
True.
You know, so Donna's not necessarily the villain.
No, and you know, it is. I mean, I think that character has like, it was just really deep because I mean, normally, especially for me, when I play video games, I like to relate a little bit. I mean, from what I can relate to like the villains and everything. And with Donna, it was just very heavy because at the end you were like, so you pretty much kill her. But then she was like, I mean, I was like, she didn't do anything. I mean, she was just, you know, I mean, she was just trying to defend through a doll. I mean, she didn't become like this huge monster like Lady D, or, you know. So she was like very hopeless too, and that was hard too. That was hard.
Yeah, because she was just defending herself and doing what she needed to do to stay alive.
Yeah, totally. And what are your thoughts on Donna?
Oh man, that's a broad question. I think her story is absolutely hard to me.
Yeah.
And that fear of judgment and the need to be isolated the inability to speak.
Yeah.
When they, in between the audition and when we shot, when they decided to take Donna's voice away, that was a really powerful thing for me as an actor.
Okay.
Because, you know, in the audition, she had a voice. It wasn't prominent, but she had a voice, and she conversed with Angie. But once that was taken away, Angie was the only way she could speak, which is so much more that builds up this sense of isolation and separation and fear. I think that builds up the tragedy of her parents' death.
Yeah.
And that her only connection to her parents really is Angie, because that's what her dad made her. Yeah,
like the last gift. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I don't know if you noticed, but once you finish that, you will come across to like the kind of the gardener's house, and then you will see a note, and which like the gardener, he's gonna be like super happy, like finally Donna is speaking, but through Angie. But that's fine. That's really cool.
Yeah, at least she's speaking.
Yeah.
Mother Miranda comes in, and it's like Mother Miranda was such a gift. Like, what's such a good thing for Donna, and who knew that this is where it was gonna go?
Yeah, and you know, I have a friend that she's like a psychologist, but she pretty much goes into like the whole family issues. And the other day, she was like, she was at my place, and I was playing Resident Evil, and then she was like, "What are you playing?" Anyway, so she watched that scene, and then she was like, "You know what? This is kind of the like." You will see a lot of kids who've been suffering a lot, that they will be speaking through toys, teddy bears, action figures, you know.
Dan Allen, I think it was with Dan Allen.
Yeah.
Because that was huge for me, you know, and in my preparation for Donna, I went through and I spent a lot of time sitting with myself and in my imagination building these dolls, you know, and then recreating my parents' death. Like, I went through the experience of mourning my parents directly, and then I recreated that experience over and over and over through the dolls, just like a child does. Because Donna's still a child, really.
Yeah, I mean, at the end she's playing kind of hide and seek in a demonic way, but she's playing hide and seek, you know.
Well, she's an orphan. She's by Miranda. Like, as an adult, Donna is adopted by Miranda because she's still a child. The gardener is basically her guardian.
Yeah, that's really deep.
It's dark and it's sad.
It is really dark.
You know, one of those places as an actor that you're scared and excited to go.
And how can you get out of it? You know, because I mean, I'm not sure, but does it? I mean, whenever you're like very deep in the character, once that thing is over, I mean, part of that character will go with you, or is there like a process you take in order to like push that away?
I have pieces of every character I've ever played with me.
Wow.
But I think the first time I really experienced that was actually with Anne Frank.
Okay.
Where going to those places and then the process of saying goodbye at the end of the run, that was really rough for me. That was the first time I'd ever connected so deeply to a character.
Yeah.
So deeply to a person. You know?
Yeah.
She was a person, and that spirit and what happened to her was devastating for me to go through. That it's from that I learned kind of over time and over experience that it's okay to keep pieces.
Yeah.
I can't live in that world. That would be detrimental to my own health to live there.
Of course.
It's empathetic, right? You know, we meet people all the time and people who are going through really rough things, and we sit with them and we help them carry what they're going through. And when we leave, we're still empathetic to that. There's still a piece of that conversation that goes with us. It doesn't drag us down, but it fills us out.
Yeah.
So that's what it's like. There will always be a piece of Donna with me. Absolutely. And I'm grateful for that because it makes me a more open and empathetic person to understand.
Yeah, and I mean, one of the brilliant things that I think that Capcom has been doing with Resident Evil 7 and with Resident Evil 8 is that we will get villains, but they have like a reason to, they're not like, oh, I'm just a monster, that's it. No, like they have like a backstory, and once you can know like a little bit from that backstory, you're like, I want more. I mean, I would love to see like a DLC, like a prequel, of course, of Donna, and to know like more about that story, because I would say that yes, it's like one of the most sad and deep, like,
Yeah. Yeah.
Wow.
Speak to anything DLC related because I don't know. But
yeah, of course. Of course.
But no, I mean, even like I said, I knew some of the lore behind Donna.
Yeah.
There's so much more in the game than what I knew when I was building her. So I'm grateful that at least the core of Donna is the same.
Yeah.
Because there's more that I would love to learn in terms of what the canon lore is.
Yeah, absolutely.
And for me, that experience is huge. But I don't have necessarily I don't have all of what's in Capcom said.
Yeah, of course. Wow. Now going to a more like a happy place, because I think we've been in a very dark place now, and moving on to a kind of a happy place. Now, how was your now besides Donna, you also did Tundra, and you also did a little bit of the Lycans there. Now, did you knew that you were going to do Tundra as well? Or was it something that they pretty much, as they were advancing, they were like, hey, we're going to need you for this?
Yep, that's pretty much exactly what it was.
Oh, okay.
That I was cast as Donna. Once I was finished shooting Donna, they called me up and said, hey, we've got another character. Would you come in and play this other character? So I did.
Cool. And
that's how it happened.
Yeah, and for the Lycan job that you did you took some of your previous creature work for the Lycans?
Yeah, I took all of my training and used that for the Lycans. They're super feral, so
yeah,
there's a lot of. There isn't really backstory that necessarily goes into it because their previous lives don't really infiltrate that feralness.
Okay.
But sometimes you have creatures who were turned and like like right, they were humans and then botched experiments.
Yeah.
And sometimes in other games or other stories, you have that and some of that previous life filters through the creature. So you take that into consideration. You've got all this backstory. With the Lycans, they're so feral that it's like attack.
Yeah. And now you also do streaming. And tell me, are we going to continue to see more streaming content in the future?
Yeah, absolutely. Like I said, I'm through Moreau's section of this game, so I will finish playing through Village, and then I've got a whole slew. I got a whole long list that my mods have put together of games I need to play next. So I'll definitely keep streaming. One of my goals is I'd like to, over time, play every game in which you can kill me because of the characters I played. So I'll play Vader Immortal. I'll play Predator Hunting Grounds.
Wow.
As other games come out that in which you can kill my characters, I will play those as well.
Oh, that's so cool. Wow. That's really awesome. And also in one of your interviews, you said that you enjoyed Horizon Zero Dawn. So tell me, what did you like about that game?
Oh, it's so beautiful, and Aloy is such an interesting character. To be fair, I haven't actually gotten very far in the game.
Okay, so no spoilers. Okay.
No spoilers.
Thank you for telling me.
I know. Well, I wasn't super great at playing games.
Yeah.
I was actually a little terrified to start playing Resident Evil Village, and I was even more terrified to start playing it live streaming.
Yeah.
Because like I pitched it when I first pitched it. I said, "Come watch me try to kill something for 2 hours." Because that's probably how long it'll take me to kill the first monster.
Yeah.
But the story in Horizon Zero Dawn is so interesting, and watching Aloy's arc and her progression, her growth,
Yeah.
is very interesting to me. And also, you get to set traps. Like, that's cool.
That's really cool.
So,
and to kill dinosaur robots, that's really awesome.
Yes.
Yeah, that's really awesome.
Excellent. But it's a smart game. You know, it's run and gun and shoot them all. It's a very smart game where if you don't learn how to set the traps, which is something I'm terrible at, you won't get far.
And what are your top 5 or favorite video games?
Oh my goodness. I really like the Lego games.
Yeah, okay. Like all of them? Or is there like one specific?
Right now I'm playing through Lego Star Wars, The Force Awakens.
That's so cool.
I love going through and smashing stuff.
Yeah.
You know, at the end of the day, you're like, I'm just going to smash some stuff.
Of course.
It's like, so satisfying, and, you know, shooting the pew-pews is that.
Yeah.
The story's funny. You know, the hilarious. I love that. I love playing Diablo. Diablo 3 is one of my favorites. That is actually like the first game that really got me into video games.
Mm-hmm.
And
Diablo, okay.
My favorites. I'm excited for Diablo 4.
Yeah.
And, you know, Horizon Zero Dawn because it's so beautiful.
Yeah.
And Resident Evil Village, like.
Yeah. There we go.
Obviously, I'm super biased.
Of course.
Yeah, and then I have played episode 1 of Vader Immortal. I haven't gotten to me yet because I'm in episode 2, but that is another really fun game, and that's the only VR game I've played.
Wow, and
New.
And is it true that you might? I mean, I have never played on VR, but is it true that if you play for too much, you're gonna still feel like sick?
I got sick.
Okay, there we go.
Village.
Okay.
Get pretty extreme motion sickness. I actually had to stop my stream early on Wednesday because there were too many boat rides. And every time I got this.
Yeah. No, I don't get this. Give me one second. Yeah.
I was like, do I have to? I have to go back in the boat.
What?
Yeah.
Okay.
I don't know what it is because, you know, in VR you're fully immersed, and I understand why that causes motion sickness. Actually, that's funny. There was a part in when we shot Vader Immortal where, as the Rancor, they gave me a little Ninja Turtle figurine.
Yeah.
That was the player. And so I told the player as I was climbing around, because they had a part in the game where the Rancor was going to catch you and carry you around. And I think they took it out because it was way too nauseating.
Yeah.
Even because they kept telling me, you got to go stable. You got to go stable.
Yeah.
I'm like, I'm crawling up and down ladders. How much straight stable?
Yeah, you can't be like really stable. Yeah, of course.
Yeah. So I understand in VR that certainly being nauseating, but I was surprised with Village. As soon as I was on that boat, it was like, oh god, nope, I do not like this.
So that's so funny. And also, are we going to see more of your skills with the bow on Instagram?
Yeah, absolutely.
Because those are really cool, by the way.
Thank you. I've been training with this school here in LA called the Equerry, and they teach mounted combat, or they teach mounted sword fighting. I'm sorry, they do teach mounted sword fighting. They also teach mounted archery. So I am training with them for that. If you're in LA and you are interested in that kind of thing, definitely check them out. The Equerry, they are fantastic. I've only been shooting a bow for probably a few months. You know, and that video, I hit the target, I hit it backwards. Yeah,
you look like a pro. I was like, oh wow, okay.
Yeah, they're excellent. Definitely look them up.
Okay, and in that school they also teach you like to throw axes?
No, they don't teach axe throwing.
But would you be able to? I mean, would you like to learn to throw?
I would love how to throw axes.
That's so cool.
Got like a couple axe throwing places. I think they're bars. You know, I wonder if they're open again. I haven't looked into it, but there are
Okay.
throw axes. I've just never done it.
Oh wow. Okay. And is there any movie or TV show that you could recommend for the weekend?
Wow. My goodness. That's like a current show?
Yeah.
I mean, I gotta say Loki. Like, I'm really enjoying Loki, but that seems like
Right?
his pick, right?
Yeah. You have. I mean, you watched the third episode, right? I mean.
Yeah.
Okay.
You can spoil this one because I've seen it.
Okay. Cool.
But no spoilers for the readers because you know them are the people.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah.
But no, just kidding. Yeah.
But did you know this about Loki? Oh, I did.
Yeah.
See. All right, I'm going to announce this as a spoiler because this made me laugh really hard. So everybody who hasn't seen Loki,
Yeah.
for a second, I'll give you a good old wave when I'm done. All right. So last episode, you know, when they kind of announced that he's got this open sexuality, right?
Yeah.
Yes, there was kind of an uproar about him having an open sexuality, and I saw this meme that was so good. It was like, you know, people all angry on the internet about Loki being bi, and me, who studied and I've studied mythology, me sitting there going, Loki turned himself into a horse, had sex with another horse. Like, you're upset that he sleeps with both men and women? He's like a horse.
Yeah, of course.
Like, he's the master of chaos. Possibly be surprised.
Yeah, of course.
So, okay, done with spoilers. Everybody's
We
like,
can go back. Okay, so you recommend Loki? What else?
I'm watching Manifest right now. It was
Okay.
found on Netflix. I guess they got 2 seasons on. I'm kind of hooked.
Really?
I don't usually find those shows that are like, Netflix is just like, hey, check this out. And I'm kind of like, yeah, that's because you sunk a lot of money into that show, and I don't know that I'm going to like it.
Yeah.
But I'm actually into this one. It's very interesting. I'm only on the first season. The Nevers, I thought was great. If anybody on HBO hasn't seen The Nevers, that's really fun. The twist is a bit...
Yeah.
I feel like it got cut short in its production. Probably COVID. But yeah, those are good. Always Bob's Burgers.
Yeah.
I clearly have like a specific thing that I like.
Yeah, of course.
So.
You got it. You got it there.
Yep.
You got it. All right. And if you could describe your career at the moment, but with only one word, which one you would choose?
Exciting.
Okay. Why?
Like that because it's only one word.
Wow. Okay. And I mean, to be honest, where does this energy and motivation you have comes from? I mean, from doing stunts to mocap to acting series, movies, creatures, kicking ass in the bow, like all of that amazing, like theater, video games, and many amazing things. I mean, what motivates you? Because while I was doing this research, the whole research, at some point I was like, oh wow, I mean, she pretty much is doing everything. That's really cool.
Yeah, do I also mention that I spent 10 years as a software developer and I was a massage therapist at some point?
Oh my god, there we go. We have more. Okay.
There's a long way.
That's so cool.
But what keeps me going is partially that I've had a number of other careers and I've always wanted this one. And I have this one and it's everything that I wanted. I get to do everything that I want to do. And, you wake up every day and I'm so grateful and I'm so excited for the day because I get to run around in the park as a creature. I get to swing swords and get on a horse and like chill out on a horse.
That's really cool.
So, I don't need something to motivate me. It's how does it not? Right?
Of course. Yeah.
I won't say it didn't take it took a lot to get here, and there were days that were really hard.
Of course.
Because anytime you're chasing a dream, you're building a dream. I'll say that instead of chasing it. Anytime you're building a dream, there are times you feel defeated and you don't know if you should just give up and do something else.
Of Of course.
And you know, I've been very privileged to be in a space where I can build that dream, and not everybody has that opportunity. So that's what keeps me going, is that I have the opportunity to have the life that I really want, and two, I have an obligation to do that because I can.
Which is, yeah, of course.
You know, and then I also have the opportunity working with the school, and this is a huge dream of mine, is to bring other people along and to say, I did this, and I train and I work with people who do this. I want to bring you in. If you want to do this too, I want to help you. I want to teach you what I know. I want to teach you how I train, and I want to help you also build this life. This is what you want. That is hugely motivating for me.
Wow. So basically, I mean, would you agree with the phrase, you need the bad moments in order to have the good moments?
I think you need the bad moments to understand the good moments.
There you go.
Yeah. I think, you know, it's a very yin and yang thing.
Yeah.
If it's all good, you don't appreciate it. And you don't understand it. If it's all good, it's just your life. And there isn't any growth if it's all good.
Yeah. Yeah, that's true, actually.
It takes the struggles, and it takes the downtimes and the slumps and the depression. It takes all of that to build character. You learn who you are in those times.
Yeah, and also, like, another thing that I think it's important is that whenever you make mistakes, I mean, yes, you will learn from them, but the important thing is not for you to let those mistakes define who you really are. You know what I mean?
No, and your mistakes aren't who you are.
Exactly.
And in the same way, your successes aren't who you are.
Exactly.
You know, they are things that you do, things that you've done. They are a part of your life. But I heard this, you know, I trained at this acting school here in LA, and they had a great saying that a character isn't what's written on the page. Character is what you are under pressure. So it's not necessarily like the mistakes you've made or the successes, but you are the source of all of those things, if that makes sense. That your character is, it shows through your actions, but it isn't your actions. Does that make sense?
Wow. Yeah, I mean, I totally agree with that. And if you could give an advice to someone who is starting in the industry, what would it be?
1, start with small wins, and then 2,
there you go.
Never stop training. You know, I use the example Tiger Woods. He has a coach. He trains with a coach, and look at where he's at, and he's still training. The same thing is true for you or for me, that I will be training always.
Always, of course.
Yeah, because that's how you get better. That's how you maintain where you're at. And so train in everything that you want to do, and seek out different things. You know, I didn't know that doing creature work in motion capture was where I was going to end up. I knew that by doing it in theater when I was in high school. So it took I did a lot of different things along the way, and I recommend that. I recommend doing that. I recommend having other jobs, even jobs you don't love, because they teach you skills. If I hadn't run my own massage, I wouldn't have the business skills to take control of my acting career.
True, exactly.
So do them all. Like, if you see something and you know, keep the end goal in sight. But if something comes along and you're like, I kind of want to try this, do it. You never know what you're gonna find.
Yeah, exactly. And at the end of the day, I mean, all of those moments you had older jobs that you used to have and everything, at the end, yeah, it's true. They will teach you something that you will use it for the future.
Absolutely.
Wow. Yeah, that was really inspirational, by the way. Wow. Well, yeah, like. No, but seriously, I mean, yeah, I mean, from what I can say, the fact that yeah, I mean, Resident Evil Village was a huge success. The other day I was reading. I mean, I don't know if it's true or not, but it's like the second most sell game
I saw that on
in this year. I was like, what? I mean, and the fact that yeah, like all of you guys, all of the cast are kind of getting closer to the fans and doing like all those live signups and the interviews and everything. It really speaks a lot of the fact that you care for your audience, and that's really amazing. And that is really amazing, and I can say that all of you are super amazing, and yeah, thank you for making this amazing characters that you. I mean, besides Donna, for Peter, thank you so much. I really hope that we can see more of you in the future for sure, and more amazing games. We hope to have like a DLC for Donna. That would be cool. And yeah. Yeah, thank you so much. At the same time, thank you for accepting. It was really awesome. And yeah.
Thank you for reaching out. This has been a interview. Thank you.
Awesome. So yeah, guys, thank you also to those who are watching. You got it here. You got the amazing Andi here. Be sure to follow her right now. If you're watching this, you can put a pause, go follow her, and then come back here. For sure, follow her all throughout all her social media. And also, one amazing thing, we're starting doing podcasts as well. So if you don't have the chance to watch the video or anything, I get that. You can listen through podcasts. So I'll keep you guys posted with that. Andi, again, thank you so much. It was really awesome to talk with you, and I'll look forward for another one.
Excellent. You have a good one.
All right, you too. Bye.